Welcome to Life as God Intended. I'm Don Brzezinski, and I'm delighted that you've tuned into the broadcast today. Please consider subscribing to our channel and give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Our topic of discussion today is fear not. Most every day, I talk to someone who is afraid or anxious about something or someone. Now, that might have a lot to do with the fact that I'm a counselor. But maybe you can relate. Maybe you fear what people think of you or might do to you. Possibly you fear not having enough money to pay your bills and take care of your family. There are those who fear heights or flying or spiders or snakes. For others, it might be the fear of failure or rejection. Yet for others, it's the fear of losing a loved one or falling ill to a disease or fearing dying. Today, many feel anxious or afraid due to the coronavirus and its potential effects on our society and the world around us. So you can see that fear is common to man. None of us enjoy being fearful, and we all long for the day that we might fear not. You see, to be free of fear is to be free to love and be loved. More on this in a moment. Many of us long to experience God's peace in the midst of the stresses and problems and dangers and uncertainties in our lives. With so many phobias and fears facing us, what does the Bible have to say? Well, the Bible, as well as Jesus, had much to say. And what they both said was, fear not. Have you ever wondered how many fear nots are actually recorded in the Bible? Would it surprise you to discover that the command to fear not in one form or another is the most repeated imperative in all of the Scripture? Fear is spoken of over 500 times in the King James Version of the Bible. Most importantly, in addition to the fear nots in Scripture, you and I are encouraged how to face our fears by fearing God, which really means to reverence God alone, not fearing anyone or anything above Him. With this insight, we begin to understand why fear is such an important topic, not only in Scripture, but in our lives. As acknowledged, we all fear. Our fear helps to reveal our focus, our point of reference. More precisely, our point of worship. That's right. You see, fear is a powerful motivator in our lives. Therefore, it might be said that the object of our fear is whom, not what, we worship. Fear is always an either-or focal point of God or Satan. You see, we give honor, respect, we give devotion to, or reverence to that which we fear. That's why the Scriptures declare that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Christian fear, or worship, is Christ in action, not the fear of outcomes. The book of Psalms in the Bible is often referred to as a hymn book of songs of praise. The psalmist often leads us in a fear not prayer. These prayers or hymns are meant to train us to respond to all the difficult feelings and life situations, though emotionally engaged in them, learning how to honestly pray about them, trusting the Lord as we walk through the trials of life. Notice, David prayed in Psalm 53, "When I am afraid, I will put my trust in you." So he didn't deny. He wasn't living in denial, but he chose to focus or to worship on the Lord at the point of his fear, not living fearful, but living loved by the Lord. I want you to notice the J.B. Phillips New Testament translation of Scripture that admonishes us to fear not in 1 John chapter 4 and verse 18. It's very insightful. He says, "God is love, and the man whose life is lived in love does in fact live in God. In fact, we live in him and he lives in us, so that our love for him grows more and more, filling us with complete confidence. For we realize that our life in this world is actually his life, lived in us. Love contains no fear. Indeed, fully developed love expels every particle of fear. For fear always contains some of the torture of feeling guilty. This means that the man who lives in fear has not yet had his love perfected. Now remember, I said a moment ago that we'd come back to the statement. To be free of fear is to be free to love and be loved, because perfect love casts out fear. Perfect love is a person, Jesus Christ, who indwells us and has come to live. The only way that's possible is for you and I, in the face of our fears, to allow his life and character to be the chosen participation at that moment of fear. So let me ask you, what fear is trying to take hold of you right now? What threat or trouble are you facing? May I encourage you to pray with David, trusting Christ as your life in the face of your fears, being willing to worship the Lord. Why not pray with me right now? Are you ready? This is what you're going to acknowledge. When I am afraid of, fill in the blank. When I am afraid of, I will trust in you, O Lord. As you begin to be aware of perfect love and his activity in you, he will dispel all of your fears, and you will experience life as God intended. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and please share it with your friends.